Everybody, welcome again to another episode of I'll Give It a DIY Try. What we have on tap today is insulation. What we have are the undersides of the ceiling. I wanted to be able to create an airtight barrier, and one of the hard things to do is because of these cross members in the walls here, it would be almost impossible to get a vapor barrier that would seal across the back side. And I wanted this area to be inside the conditioned space because I want to be able to store things and even use like the area from here back as recessed for bookshelves or some kind of shelving back there. So the solution that I came up with is I want to do spray insulation on the back sides of the ceiling. Now, one thing that I've heard from some professionals is you can actually spray foam onto the back side of the ceiling. But I do know that the roof gets to be way over 100 degrees, and I wanted to be able to vent it. The roof line has venting already in it, so I wanted to pass the air from underside. So I used these egg carton shells to be able to divert the air. There are two styles. One style works really well for getting around the bottom of the soffit area. It's meant to turn and maneuver in there. These up here I actually had from when we did the main cabin. In hindsight, I would just use all those bottom ones. But like I said, I already had a huge investment of these up here. So to make sure the spray foam doesn't go in between them, I put some tape to try to seal that up. What I'm going to use is a Home Store AB foam kit. Here's the hose, and it comes with these ends in it. And right on it, it has this red tag. I don't know if you can read that, but it says for professional use only. And of course, since this is I'll Give It a DIY Try, we're going to ignore this. And as a complete amateur that has never done anything like this before, we're going to give it a try and do it. Let's start moving along and get everything ready to go. So for the last day, I've been going around and finishing everything that I can think of, like covering anything that might get foam on it. I put foam board against the exposed wall out here, and I'll spray over any gaps and seal that. I put the foam egg carton attic, the vault here, so that I can spray it all and make one airtight envelope. So I should have everything ready to spray from top to bottom and seal it in. I have my froth pack. I've attached it, got my video equipment set up, and I think the last step before I start shooting is going to be putting on the PPE, or protective equipment. So let's run a little montage of getting suited up. Let's do this. Wow, I completely exhausted one set of tanks, and it is a hard, fast pace to go through. I can see why hiring a professional is worth every penny of it. But let's go look and see what one set of cans gets you. All right. I did the tire underface of this wall here. It's about 14 feet by 6 feet. This one is the same, 14 by 16 feet. It didn't get very thick at the pace that I was going. And there's a few gaps in here. So when I put the second coat on, I'll make sure to catch all gaps first. Next area is this is a 10-foot by 6-foot area. Once again, about the same thing, had some gaps. I should have gone through and double checked my tape because some of my tapes came loose during the night. So there's one of these on both sides. Totally encase those. Now this is an 8 by 14 area. There's one of these on each side. In this room, the same roof line, and it looks like I forgot a bay. Weird. I did this 8 by 14 area. And then I started this area down here, and that's when I ran out. So that's what I have so far. I'm going to take a break because this is very exhausting. So I'm going to give it like an hour and bring two new tanks up, and we'll get going again. And this time we'll be done with the spray foam for good. Catch you on the flip side. One last time, spray up there, and I think I'll be out of product.
My protective suit has had better days.
Whew. All right, I'm done. The bottles are both out of part B. I still feel some part A left, but when they don't mix together, you don't get a very good spray. It doesn't foam up. So I'm calling this part done. And this feels nice. My hands are sweated through. My shirt is sweated through. And this suit does not have much life left in it. You're definitely not going to save these things for reuse, that's for sure. I can show you. This is the area between my legs. It is a big hole. I was careful not to sit down anywhere because of that. I guess at this point, clean everything up and get it to the landfill. So I just got done with the second coat. I'll walk around and show you everything that's finished now. I am hot. It's in an attic. There's plenty of heat there here to begin with, and that stuff puts off a lot of heat. So not a good, you have to have it warm to shoot it so it performs well, but when it's warm, you get hot. So it's a catch-22. So it feels like my second coat, I got a lot more foam out of it. I don't know if it was a mixture or the temperature or what. So that's pretty much a first coat there, whereas this is a second coat, and you can see the way more expansion than I got. I think this morning is actually more humid than yesterday morning, so that might have something to do with it. So started spraying at the bottom, just worked my way up. Looks like I still got a gap right there, right there. I'll have to QA this. Oh, missed a big gap there. It's amazing when you're in the protective gear and you're walking around and you're like, okay, I got it all. I can't find any more misses. And then you take it all off and you start walking around with the video and all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's another one. There's another one. Can you hear that crunch? It kind of has a crunchy noise when the floor flexes. All right. But I should get a really good air seal. There should be no air coming in off those soffits at all. It's like when you spray it thick, you get stalagmites or tights. Yeah, I think it's tight to the ceiling. This all looks pretty good. I even thought to spray into some corners like that, but it'd be hard to get regular insulation to hold into. So I think I'm going to cut this video off. My project has come to a conclusion. I might go back and try to fix some of the holes that I have, but that would be just a QA session. So I'm sure what everybody is wondering, is this for me? I know the first thing that I saw on the instructions and boxes, for professional use only. And like this channel's name, I'll give it a DIY try, means I do try some things that should be left to the professionals. But I didn't find it very complex. I don't think you need to be a professional to do it. Now, this stuff isn't cheap. Each one of those bottles was $350. I think after taxes, it was close to $1,500 for everything. And that's actually a lot more than it would cost to traditional insulate these walls. But the problem is, because of all the truss work, it would have been impossible to get a good vapor barrier between it. So I do believe foam was the right way to go. I never got a quote from a professional, but I doubt that they would even come close to the $1,500 price ticket. I mean, if I could have got it done for $3,000, I would have been amazed. It's probably more closer to $5,000 or $6,000 for them to show up and even spray. So the amount of money I saved, I believe, made it worth it. The pride of doing it myself, also definitely worth it. The pure sweat that you go through during it is not worth it. So if you have a low tolerance for being uncomfortable, don't do this. At the end of the day, I would say yes. Spray foam if you have the constitution for it. You have the self-satisfaction and the money savings. And you also get it done on your schedule. You have it done the way that you want it. So I'm really happy with how things turned out. I have some cleaning up to do. This stuff is messy. The globules that come off the gun are unavoidable. They will drop. They will get onto everything. It's not that hard to clean up. They scrape right off. It's very easy to get them. If you have anything valuable under where you're spraying, I would definitely put plastic over it. What else? What else? As far as the operation of, the instructions tell you you get 30 seconds before your nozzle clogs. I didn't really have an issue with that. Sometimes when I was moving things around, I got a little panicky because I thought it might be taking too long. I don't think I ever went over the 30 seconds. And the nozzles start clogging up, getting kind of spattery the longer you use them. There's always chunks dripping off of it, and they have to be hardening. So, you know, I would say that you're going to go through a couple nozzles per set of bottles anyways. So factor that into the equation. Take a break halfway through. Take a break, get some fresh air, dry out. I got a bead of sweat coming down my nose right now. Protective equipment, absolutely a must. The little specks get everywhere. So on my arm, I don't know if you can see it, but my gloves came to here and my protective gear came down to here. This area here has little foam specks in it. So you can be guaranteed that any gaps in your protective clothing will have spray foam little specks on it. This will not be very hard to clean up. It's a very small area. I have my glasses on, but I also had protective goggles on. I don't know if you can see it, but there is spatter all over these. So don't be using your good glasses as your eye protection, because it will get all over them. Clean up your floor. I didn't do a very good job at having everything off of the floor, and as I was moving my platform around or the bottles, I was constantly catching hoses on things and moving the, in my panic 30 seconds between shoots, I want to get everything moved, and nothing more frustrating than catching, even your hose, because when you catch your hose, it pulls the applicator trigger in, and on occasion I was actually shooting stuff right in the middle of nowhere, and that was very frustrating. Last thing I want to mention was I got these bottles from Menards. They are discontinued there. I don't know why that is. I don't know if they just want to get rid of all the old bottles so that the expiration dates don't go by, and then they're going to repopulate with a new improved kind. That could be. It could be that there's just too much hassle and liability with these, and the companies don't want to deal with it anymore. I don't know about that. The instructions recommend, this was the 620 system. So that means you can spray an inch for 620 square feet. I would say that's pretty close. That's about what I got out of the first tank. Naturally, the faster you go, the less coverage you get, the more areas you miss. So another thing I would recommend is don't be in a hurry. Make sure you have plenty to do your area, and go slow and get really good coverage. The thicker you put it on, if you put it on too thick, it's going to glob up and drip off. So you don't want that. But you want to put it on thick enough by going slow enough that as the chemical reaction starts happening, that there's enough there to foam it up and get it thick. If you do just a thin, fast coat, you won't get much depth out of it. So the last section that I did, I went a lot slower. I had a brand new bottle, so I had a lot to use. So that stuff definitely went on better. It had a coat. It went into the dimples and everything better. So just remember that. Go slow and get plenty of coverage, just not so much coverage it starts dripping off. So I think I'm going to call this one a wrap. I want to thank everybody for tuning into my channel. Give it a DIY try. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to keep doing videos on this garage. Keep hammering it out until it's a really nice living space upstairs and a really nice work area down in the garage. I plan on spending a lot of time here in my retirement. So if you subscribe, I'll take you along with all finishing that and also moving forward projects that I do in this garage. I hope to do a lot of fixing of old engines, restoration, maybe go to some auction sales or some garage sales, and really get into a lifestyle and supported by YouTube, hopefully, where I can do these things. So love to see you. So tune in next time.